Yo, I just wanted to show you the survey app and site called PaidViewpoint. Made a little over $1,800 from it. At the time of recording this is one of my most consistent cash out platforms that I have for beer money. And in my opinion, this is one of the best survey sites out there, if not the best. At least for me, it is. They have a lot less annoying questions, and it's just a lot less annoying to do a lot of the surveys. I'm not a big fan of doing surveys, but definitely one of the best ones. You also still get paid for getting disqualified, and it's really low disqualification rates. And the downside, obviously, is you get limited surveys. So not a lot that I can really show you on the site. So I'll mainly be talking throughout this whole video and giving you tips and just other things that I have for the site. But anyways, let's get to my screen.
So this is kind of what PaidViewpoint looks like. This is the desktop version. The mobile version looks like pretty much the same. I do prefer to do my surveys on the mobile or on the desktop version just because it's a lot easier for me. I don't know about most people, but I usually keep the auto rotate off just because it's super annoying for a lot of things that I do on the phone. And when you qualify for a full survey on the site, there'll be a question or two, not always, but usually. There'll be a question or two where it asks you to turn the auto rotate on just because. um, and you'll literally be answering like one or two questions in that. Anyways, as you can see, I've made a little over 1800 lifetime earnings. And this year I've made 237 bucks and 97 cents. I'm sitting on 59 bucks. And I'll be cashing out really, really soon. On a quick side tangent, I do these bi-weekly cash outs in the middle of the month and the end of the month where I show screenshots of all the apps that I use or that I've been using and like screenshots of like the cash outs that I've done. Um, and I do that on my Instagram as a reel and my YouTube as a short. I also do this thing on my blog where I do monthly earnings. And you can find it under the monthly earnings. Where I show you all my screenshots of what I made total of the month, with the screenshots. And below the screenshots of the beer money cash outs, I will also have my two trading accounts and my one investing account. So you can see the progress of those and all that. Um, I am down like a couple $100 on one of my trading accounts. But anyways, um, you can see my earnings history right here. I think it goes all the way back from the beginning, but I'm not going to show you all of it because, they have these things called trait survey, and these are the surveys that will earn you 10 cents. Um, and I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming just because of how the surveys set up. Every survey that's not 10 cents, like the full survey, is a research survey. Um, and always for every research survey, maybe like 99% of them, there'll be the same trait survey questions. But let me explain the trait surveys for questions really quick. Trait surveys questions are usually 10 to 13 questions, and they're usually the same questions, asking you like, oh, are you female or male, or what your gender is, how old you are. It's just the same questions pulled from like a pool of 20 to 30 questions, but like they'll only have like 10 of those questions, in these trait survey questions. So you can literally just speed run through all of these just because you already know like what the question's asking by a glance because it's literally the same question that you've seen hundreds of times if you've done a lot of surveys here. And do the same thing for the research survey. But they'll mix in like one or two questions just to see if you qualify for the research survey questions. So, try to look out for those. If you answer those wrong, you'll be disqualified, if you answer it like incorrectly. I'm not saying you shouldn't be honest. Um, and a quick side note as well. This is one of the few sites that I've earned like really fairly on surveys, even though you don't get a lot of surveys on the site. I do average about $3 to $5 a day. Not every day, but like on most days. On my good days, I'll earn like $8 or even $10 a day, which is really nice for not a lot of work. And all the surveys are very, very similar. Apart from like doing the trade survey. Um, Now, this is one of the reasons why I can't show you any surveys, is before you qualify for the full survey, it'll always ask you the question of like, hey, you won't share this information with anyone, right? And you always have to hit accept. If you don't, you'll just get defaulted to this trait survey and only earn 10 cents instead of like 30 cents or 55 cents or even like a couple bucks or like $2. So, like $2 right here, right? And your boy's poor and he needs to earn money, so I can't show you the surveys, unfortunately. Um, but a lot of these, even these research survey questions are very, very easy to do compared to a lot of other survey sites. The survey site's really, really responsive with all the multiple choice answering and all that, and there's a lot less typing than you need compared to a lot of survey sites. Another great thing about the site is that you won't get any of those questions that ask you like, oh, hey, write 2 sentences of your favorite vacation or your favorite childhood memory or your superpower you want or whatever. And I swear, every time I write, no matter if it's 2 letters, 2 words, or like a paragraph, I still get disqualified. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't seem like it matters how much you write. That could just be me, but you don't have any of that on Paid Viewpoint. The There's these things called, I don't know what they're called, but like I call them the attention questions, where they say like just making sure you're paying attention, select this answer and all that. And on most survey sites, if you select the wrong answer, the best case scenario, they disqualify you immediately. The worst case scenario, they disqualify you at the end and you don't get paid. You know, it makes you think that you still qualified for the full survey, but like it just you just get scammed. It is what it is. Um, I've had a lot of times on Paid Viewpoint where I've answered those questions wrong on accident. Not saying you should try to speed run through those, um, or answer dishonestly, but I've always qualified for the full survey, even if I answered those questions wrong and like, even if I answered like a lot of these trait questions like wrong on accident, just because I just don't read enough sometimes. I still get qualified for the full survey. So this site's very lenient, but try not to abuse it too much, all right? Which is why another reason I hold this in high regards. A lot of the surveys are very, very easy to do. Um, a lot of these surveys, like I finish in like 2/3 of the time, just because like of how easy and like how responsive the site is, and like how less annoying a lot of these questions are. Um, like a lot of these 40-cent surveys, and I'll have like a Google Doc just showing you all these surveys that I've got, and like I'll have these like these history things just to prove that I did the survey. But like these like 40-cent surveys are like literally like 2 or 3 minutes long, and 40 cents for like a 2 minute survey is like what 12 bucks. This 63 one I think was like 3 minutes or something, which is like I'm doing the math really quick. It's about like 12 bucks as well. But like you get paid like for these ones, like these surveys that you can do very, very easily while you're playing like games, which is why what I always do, or like watching anime or like doing a show, like earning 12 bucks from a survey is like insane compared to like a lot of survey sites. And like a lot of these surveys are like so easy to do. They're all of it's formatted pretty much the same, so it's less annoying. It's very like you already know what the question's gonna be most of the time. But anyways, I touch up more on that on the blog. I'm not gonna fill this up with talking about the surveys. They have this thing called the TraitScore. I don't fully know what this is, but I think it's for the demographics and all that. I do tend to notice that you do get more surveys if you fill this out. You'll start at 0, and then you cap out at 10,000 like I do. It's been a long time since I did this, but a lot of these trait surveys, as you can see right here, they're usually the main ways to fill up this trait score. And you'll get a lot of the trait surveys, just so they test and see what your demographics are and all that. But when you start out, you'll get a lot of these trait surveys. They'll just be like 10 cents. You'll probably get a lot of surveys that are like 50 cents and like $1 as well, still. But any survey should be filling up this trait score. And like I said, when you fill it up, you should be getting more surveys. I'm not gonna click on here just because there's a lot of personal information and all that, but like a quick side note about this, make sure you fill this all. Make sure you fill it up. You'll usually get more surveys when it's filled up. Every 3 months or half a year, I think, I don't remember. When you open this app or when you go to the site, it'll immediately take you to this your profile page, and it forces you to update it. And if you don't have anything to update, just scroll all the way down and hit like Update profile. I don't remember what it says. It's been a while. And then, you can scroll back up. I think there's a back button on the top left as well. If there isn't, just click this and it'll take you back to the main screen. But you have to update it. Even if you don't have anything to update, it forces you to do it. If you try to back out, if I remember correctly, if you try to back out, it'll have like a red error message just saying like, oh, you need to make sure you update it and stuff. And you can literally just, if you don't have anything to update, like I said, scroll all the way to the bottom, hit the update thing. I do have one referral, but they quit. They never cash out anything. But how referrals work on this is when they cash out, you earn I think 10% of their cash out. It doesn't come out of their like cash out. It comes out of PayPal's pockets and all that. And I only can earn like 25 bucks per referral or and all that. So all this money is just made by me. A couple ways to tell if you have surveys is like the surveys will pop up right here instead of this like raccoon or panda bear, red panda, whatever. I don't know what it is. Instead of like this, it'll have like a window looking exactly like this window, and it'll say like, hey, um, you have the survey available. It takes this much time to do, and you'll get paid this much. Um, and like a pinkish bar or like a hot pink bar or whatever color this is. I'm not good with my colors. Um, and that's when you know you have a server right here. But the ways to tell is if you're on mobile, it'll notify you. It's not very accurate. I miss my surveys about like its accuracy is probably like 70% or something. I do miss a lot of surveys, and I checked the app like when I was using the app more, I would check the app and like I wouldn't even see a notification. Even when I had a survey. Another way that you can tell is this is the worst way to tell. They'll email you. You they usually email like the accuracy of like it notifying you is probably like 10%, all right? It's not good. So don't rely on the email. The best way to tell is I know I have a lot of tabs, but I usually leave a tab open. And instead of this white on the logo, it'll have this hot pink or whatever color this is. It'll fill up this white square, and that's when you know it's not always accurate. It's maybe like 85 to 90% accurate. A lot of the times I've come to this, just this homepage, and this thing hasn't lit up. And I'll refresh the page like I just did, or like I'll even click like right here, and it'll just pop up with a survey. So it's not like none of the notifications are very accurate. So if you want, make sure you check every couple hours, every hour or something, just to see if you have a survey or something, because for some reason it's just not good at telling you if you have a survey. Um, Really quick, the cash outs. I'm gonna show you a really old cash out in a second. It's not really old, but it's just from last month. Because like I won't be cashing out on this for another couple days because I want to have it on my cash out logs and all that. But you do have to verify your phone number. You have to use a real phone number, like a SIM phone number. If you're using like an app like Google Phone or whatever other more popular apps that give you like a phone number, like they can tell. But you put in your phone, like your real phone number or someone's phone number. You'll get a code, and then you put the code in. Bam, your phone number is verified, and they shouldn't have to verify your phone number again. The next thing, you have to verify your PayPal. I don't remember how this looks, but if I remember correctly, it will just have a button that says verify PayPal, and you click on it. It'll bring up another window to PayPal. You have to log in with your PayPal information, and then I think you have to click like two more windows to like allow PaidViewpoint to be linked to your PayPal account. And then I don't remember if the window auto closes by itself. If it doesn't, and it doesn't take you back to like PaidViewpoint, just go back to the site. But once you verify your PayPal, I don't remember if you have to cash out at least once from PayPal to access the rest of these cash outs. I don't think it is. I think like as long as you verify your PayPal account, it'll unlock all these. When you start out, I think the minimum is 15 bucks. I don't remember. It'll be on the blog. Um, when you start out, it'll be 15 bucks. When you max out your TraitScore, I think it goes down to 10 bucks for minimum because I have 10 bucks right now. Some people report that like they can cash out for 5 bucks minimum, but I've been using this for a long time already, and I'm still on 10 bucks. Um, but I I could be wrong. You might have to use pay. You might have to be at max trade score for a little longer than a like for a certain amount of time to reach $10. I don't know. When I check like its FAQ or something, it says that like when you have good standing or something, whatever that means. Probably answering correct questions correctly very often. It'll go down to $10. But yeah, I don't know if there's much else that I can talk about. I can't really show you a survey, like I said, unfortunately, but I'll have all the information that I'm missing on the blog, and it'll be a lot easier for me to update and all that. So, yeah. But this is the cash out, just to show proof that it's paid me. Uh, but anyways, on a quick side note, uh, I barely bought Final Fantasy VII Remake with the cash out from last month, from the site. Um, and so I'm gonna get back to playing that. I've also been watching this anime on the side called Summertime Rending, I think it's called. It's pretty gory anime. It's about a mystery, suspense, and thriller, supernatural anime. It's pretty good. Um, but anyways, I'm gonna get back to watching those. That's pretty much my review for PaidViewpoint. But anyways, take care.